Today, I'm going to be walking you through the process of creating your own interactive virtual field trip using Google Earth. Today, I'm going to be following the framework designed by Learning Llama. I really like this platform or this framework because I find it super user-friendly. It's all step-by-step. I think it really clearly lays things out and gives you quite a few ideas on how you could take it further. So let's get started. Step 1. We'll be deciding on a destination. So I have chosen today for us to do a quick little field trip to Kimberley, BC. I'm pretty familiar with Kimberley, and I thought that this would be a pretty fun place to start. So step 2 is going to be to create an itinerary. Learning Llama gives the suggestion of checking out some travel itineraries for other websites. She used EF Tours. That is absolutely an option for me. I'm pretty familiar with Kimberley, so I thought of a couple tourist attractions that I thought would be great fits. Over here in my Google Doc, I just have 2 to show you today. So we're going to be stopping at the Kimberley Plateau and the Kimberley Alpine Resort. Itinerary made. Time for step 3. We're going to go back over to Google Earth, and it says once you go to Google Earth, you will click the button on the left-hand side called Projects. At the top, you click the blue button, New Project, and then you can either create the project and save it to your Google Drive or your computer. I am going to be saving it to my Google Drive today, so I will select New and New Map. Here we go. I am going to title my map. Over here, this is the edit. I'm going to call it Kimberley VFT, Virtual Field Trip. Save. Excellent. Saving it to Google Doc or to Google Drive would also make it really easy for your students to access. So now that we have that done, we are going to add some features. Our features are part of our itinerary. So I have our first stop being the Kimberley Plateau. So I've already searched it up here. Here it is. Kimberley Plateau on Spokane Street. Ta-da! Kimberley Plateau. So next, I'll come over here and I will save to project. There we go. We've got our first step. Over here, our next stop on the itinerary is the Kimberley Alpine Resort. So I will search Kimberley Alpine Resort. Oh, and there she is. I'll do the same thing. Save to project. Okay, our steps are now done. For our next step, they suggest to add images. So look over here. Underneath, I've selected the Kimberley Plateau, and over here, Kimberley Plateau update info. So I can update the info here if I wanted to add my own description or images or videos. If you are doing this in your class, this is a great time to give them a little bit more context to wherever they're going. So our next step, it would be add the text in the target language. Learning Llama is a Spanish teacher, so it makes sense that she would want to switch hers over into Spanish. We don't have to do that today. She suggests creating a Google Slides. So at this point, she asks the question, they can explore the map on their own, but how will you hold them accountable? So this is the part where you could have them go on a virtual scavenger hunt. They could be looking for specific things. They could be looking for clues to add to their context or understanding. They could be naming a restaurant in the plaza. How many parks are there? You want to make sure that this is happening intentionally. You know, it's interactive. You know what kind of learning you want your students to take away from this. Finally, if we head over to the Kimberley Plateau, right over here, if we head over to the Kimberley Plateau, here we are. I'll tuck that away for now so we get a better view. We can see down in the corner here, this little icon. So this will help us see with Street View. So what I do is select this little icon, this little guy, and now what I can see are all of these blue lines, or if you look carefully within the plateau, there are these little blue dots. So Learning Llama says that blue lines are the streets and the roads on the map. So if you put your little icon on these roads, then you will be able to see the Google Street View. The blue dots are 360 images. They're still images that tourists or locals or whoever have uploaded to Google, which will give you a 360 shot of the location. So let's say I want to drop my person right there. Let's see what we can see. All of a sudden, we are in a cafe, the Kimberly City Bakery. This is from 2019. I'm not sure if this is still around, but this would be maybe an excellent opportunity for your students to ask those questions. So now we are in the Platzel. There's the dollar store. We're able to use these arrows to move around, which is great. There's so much that we can see here. We can see when the photo was taken. We can see the name of the person who took the photo. It's very interactive. I certainly plan on using this feature in the future throughout my teaching practice. I think it's so much fun to get a perspective of a place that you haven't seen before, or my upcoming practicum will be in Kimberly, so I'm planning on doing a community roles unit with my practicum class. This would be a great time to compare and contrast how the community has changed over time. So thank you so much for following along. I learned a lot throughout this project. I hope you do as well. And
Okay, hi everyone. Today we're gonna show you how elementary teachers can use ThingLink to build immersive 360 virtual tours. These tours are really engaging for students and can take them to places that they may never be able to visit, all from the comfort of their homes or from your classroom. Just to talk a little bit about what ThingLink is. ThingLink is a powerful, user-friendly platform that lets you take images and videos, 3D objects, 360 objects, and turn them into a really rich experience for your students. They create virtual tours that you can create beforehand and show your students, or it's a very user-friendly, so your students could make them themselves. Just a couple key features that ThingLink offers. It's great for accessibility. It uses immersive readers, so if your student needs a little bit help with reading or understanding what's in front of them, there's lots of different accessibility options. It's also great for UDL, just making sure everybody's included in the task at hand. There's opportunity for embedding. So in a little bit here, we can go through the settings and I can show you that you can, how to embed a video or an image. You can put GIFs in here, YouTube links, different interactive media. You can use audio and narration, so you can add your own voiceover, background sounds, music, whatever you would like in the video or the tour, sorry. You can make it so that things are locked. So if your students need to do a couple tasks before they get to do something else, then it will be locked until they complete those tasks. Or a question or whatever you decide. Tours can be private. There is a way to set the tour to be public or private, just depending on what you're wanting. And ThingLink is compatible with VR if your students are doing individual tours. For planning your tour, just a couple things, just some housekeeping things before, just define what your goal is. What's the purpose? Is this to explore a historical site, practice science, just understanding what the purpose of the tour is. Mapping out your scenes before, so if you need links for a map or a website that you're touring, a video that you're touring, just make sure you have all your links up before. It just makes it a lot easier. With that, just gathering all the media you need. So photos, videos, recordings, models, whatever that may look like for you. And then just think about the flow. So what are you going to start with? What's a good place to stop? In the middle, if you need to have an interactive discussion to check for understanding, just making sure you kind of have a bit of a flow to follow along. Creating your 360 image. So ThinkLink has its own 360 image library where you can use their panoramic visuals. You can also use your own panoramic visuals. I know most iPhones as well as Androids have a panoramic option in their photo settings, and that is compatible with ThinkLink as well. Now to start building your tour. So you can upload your 360 photos or videos through ThinkLink. First, you're going to add a transit tag, so it gives you a walkthrough of a visual tour. So click on Add Tag, then you can insert different hotspots. So whether that's a video explaining a landmark, a quiz question, a link to a resource, stuff like that. So there's lots of different options here. There's the embed option that I was telling you about before. These are the questions, the polls, things like that. Then you're going to configure your accessibility. So first, I'm getting ahead of myself here. I'm going to add a text, and I'm going to make the title of the text Finding Charlie Ed. I'm not sure if you know, but Charlie Ed is a bronze elephant statue that we have here in my hometown. So I think it was in the 1920s. There was a circus here, and Charlie Ed the elephant got out, and he was out and about for about 42 days just on the town. So a cool piece of history for my hometown for sure. Okay, so I have a link to where Charlie Ed's statue is. So I'm going to add that into the URL here. And you could add many more there as well. Add media. I do have a visual of Charlie Ed on my Charlie. Where's Charlie Ed? There we go. There's Charlie Ed. So you can add media files there as well. There, perfect. So then I will just press done here at the top. And then if you click on that, so then you can add your accessibility options here. So this is where you would have like your voiceover or customize your layout. You could edit it in this portion here. Then you could add different next tip. Sorry. Then you could add different options down below. There's lots of different options or up here for text preferences. There's grammar, reading preferences, just for your accessibility. So if you need to add different tools that way, this is where you would do it. Then at this point, you can start to add formative check-ins for your students, embed different videos or tools that may help them. So if they're finding Charlie Ed, you may want to add in, here I have a map of Baker Street. So then I would add in the map of Baker Street so that they could go and find Charlie Ed. As far as publishing and sharing, oh, it's supposed to say statue. Whoops, I messed that up. So then now it is published. So it's right here. You can just see the blue dot. It's published on my map. So I would if before my settings, I could have made this a map of Baker Street and then put the Finding Charlie Ed on there. This website is pretty cool to navigate. I definitely recommend it. It's very engaging. It supports it supports kids being their own individual selves. Students can explore at their own pace, revisit scenes, review content. It's cross-curricular. You can incorporate so many different subjects with this website. And it promotes student creativity. They can, once they're comfortable, I'm still a beginner, but once they're more comfortable, I'm sure they'll fly through this and they can share different videos and tours with their family and friends. Just a little call to action. ThingLink, it's such a great option for accessibility and flexible learning. It builds 360 visual tours, perfect for engaging your students in immersive learning. Whether you're building a virtual field trip, a classroom tour, or having students create their own ThingLink, it just gives so much creativity and power. So if you would like to try it, the website is thinglink.com and you can sign up for free. You can use the Pano to 360 converter or just use your own photos as I mentioned before. And then you just start by doing add tag and upload your hotspots text and share from there. So I hope that you learned from this tour and you're able to create your own ThingLink in the future. And thank you for watching and happy creating. Perfect. Thank you.
Hi everyone, welcome to this screencast. Today I'm going to walk you through a really engaging virtual field trip resource by BBC Learning Hub called Walking with Dinosaurs, specifically their interactive map, which is actually a Google slide. It's completely free. You just need to make an account with BBC Learning Hub. They have lots of classroom resources. This one just stood out to me because I've always been super interested in the history of our Earth and dinosaurs because they're pretty cool. This slide, this is extremely interactive. We'll just start from the beginning here. Let's go on a virtual field trip. So this was part of our research on virtual field trips for our second assignment in our tech class, EDCI336. I'll highlight what exactly makes this resource valuable, how it could be used in the classroom, and how it aligns with the BC Science curriculum for multiple ages and grades. So let's get started. What is this resource exactly? So like I said, this is called Walking with Dinosaurs, and it was specifically designed for grades 3 through 8. Now, that being said, BBC is not Canadian. I believe they are from the UK. So you do have to make sure that there are some connections. And what I did was I just went onto the BC curriculum website and took a peek at some of the different science curricular competencies and content depending on the grade. And what I found is this applies to a number of different grades, but specifically I found a lot of connections in the grade 7 science curriculum. The big idea, there's actually 2 here that it could apply to. The first one being evolution by natural selection provides an explanation for why the diversity and survival of living things. We also see over here, Earth and its climate have changed over geological time. Under content, we also see that the fossil record provides evidence for changes in biodiversity over geological time. So lots of connections there. You can also scale it back a little bit too. So I will be doing my final practicum with a grade 5 class. So if we were just pop over to grade 5, let's take a look at the big ideas. So we could say that multicellular organisms have organ systems that enable them to survive and interact within their environment. So with this, you could look at a specific dinosaur or have the students look at a specific dinosaur and see how their bodies let them interact and survive within their environment. questioning and predicting. So you could help students in grade 5 make form a hypothesis about why a certain dinosaur lived the way it did. There's lots of different ways you can go with this. So, like I said before, the heart of this virtual field trip is the interactive map. So what this does is, this is just a little intro. There are 6 dig sites, and students can explore them in any order. With each dig site, there's lots of different activities for students to do, quizzes, and yeah, it's pretty interactive. So we can just start here, the Albertosaurus. That sounds interesting. So here, yep, it gives us a number of different options. So we could visit the dig, meet the dinosaur, or take the quiz. Visiting the dig takes you to a quick clip, about 2-minute, 30-second clip, about 2 paleontologists digging up a fossil of an Albertosaurus and kind of that process that they go through. So this would be also super helpful for exploring different careers relating to fossils and exploring the Earth's geological history. Let's look at Meet the Dinosaur. Meet the Albertosaurus, Rose, her mate, and the matriarch. So again, here's a quick little video. I won't play all of it. Pretty amazing visuals. Looks very realistic so far. Yeah. I mean, I already am fascinated by this. I can see kids really liking this and finding it super, super intriguing. So the other thing, apart from this interactive map, each student will have what's called a paleontologist field journal. And that's just right here. That's what that looks like. This is where students can record their observation, fill in facts, and even color scientific drawings of the dinosaurs that they observe from their interactive map. And I really like this interactive map because it's kind of, they get to choose what they want to look at. So if one student wants to look at the dinosaur from Portugal, Lusotitan is, I think, how you pronounce that, then they get to do that. And if a student really wants to extend and go beyond just the proficient level of learning, they can go into this bonus content as well. So I really like that it gives them some choice in what exactly they want to learn about. Another thing that's super useful about this resource is there is a teacher guide. It includes, let me just find it here. Here it is. This teacher guide includes a lesson plan, suggested activities to do with your students, alignment information, as well as extension ideas. So let's just take a peek here. So it just kind of gives you step by step. You want to be sure that you print out the field journal for your students. Oh, that's upside down. Here, let me just fix that. Yeah. So again, just looking at these questions, what did you notice in the clip? Did anything surprise you? I can definitely see this being suitable for a grade 3 or a grade 8 class. I think this is super awesome and applicable for many ages. So just going back to that teaching resource, I really like that it talks about how to extend the learning as well. I really like this idea about the kids writing a short story about what happens next. That's something that I worked on with my grade 3 practicum class last year, with making predictions about what's happening next in a story given the information that we have so far. That's super fun to do. And again, like I said, these alignments, they're not BC curriculum specific, so you just have to be sure that you're referencing the BC curriculum as you're going through this, if you so choose to use this in your own classroom. So I just want to talk a little bit about why this resource is useful from a virtual field trip perspective. From a virtual field trip standpoint, this resource is strong for several reasons. First being, it's highly immersive and exploratory. This map gives students agency. They choose which dig site to visit, and I think that also keeps the engagement quite high. There's some multimedia learning going on. The combination of videos plus quizzes helps reinforce learning in different modalities. There's some active reflection going on as well. So the field journal has parts that encourage students to think like paleontologists, to observe, record, and analyze their findings. I also really like this because we see some universal designs for learning going on with scaffolding. This teacher guide provides some structure so educators can frame the experience with pre and post activities, making it more than just watching a video about a dinosaur. It's a little more interactive than that. And finally, I do really like that there's some extension activities for this. There's even one about a Minecraft challenge, so students don't just consume content, they can build, design, and apply what they've learned in a creative digital space. So going back to the curriculum, I think this field trip encourages students to think like scientists, which supports the curriculum's emphasis on scientific literacy, inquiry, and ethical use of resources. I think it also has the potential to bring in local relevance, especially for where we live in BC, close to the Alberta border with the Albertosaurus. That could be really, really cool for kids to learn about. I next want to talk about some strengths and challenges / considerations with this resource. One of the strengths is this is super easy to access. It's free. I did a quick Google search about different types of virtual field trips, and this is one that popped up and really intrigued me. I wasn't sure whether or not I'd be able to see it or how much I could do without paying for it, because obviously there's lots of things online that you do need to pay for, but this was completely free. The only thing I needed to do was to create an account with BBC. Super easy. Another strength about this resource is that it's highly scalable. Like I said, there's lots of scaffolding potential, there's lots of UDL, and just it's such an interesting topic, and it's applicable to so many different age groups and academic levels of understanding. Really, really cool. I also can see it's not just directed towards science. I can see there's some cross-curricular potential here as well. So if we were to go back to this teaching, this teacher's guide, we see it with the extension. I talked about it a little bit earlier, but having the students write a short story or a comic, right there you have some ELA cross-curricular connections, which is amazing. Some challenges with this resource is, well, number one, you need to have reliable internet access. So it looks like you're going to be playing lots of videos. You need your students to have a copy of this interactive map. If they have iPads in the classroom or laptops, so lots of people on the internet at the same time. So hopefully your classroom has access to internet that's suitable for that type of project. You also need to print some resources, so that needs to be done beforehand. Let's just take a peek at how big 10 pages. Okay, so yeah, 10 pages per student. If you have a class of 20 kids, that's quite a bit of paper. So that could be a challenge as well. I think another challenge with this, and more so just a consideration, is I think the teacher will need to do some prep with For example, do students know what a paleontologist is? Maybe that's something you talk about beforehand. Or do we understand what a dinosaur is? So you might need to do there might need to be some background information that's taught before you really dive into this resource. But of course, I don't know if I would start any of my lessons with a field trip right off the bat. I think that's pretty much a given. Again, like you need to supplement local resources just to enhance their learning in that experience. But above all, I think this is a really great resource. So to sum up, Walking with Dinosaurs interactive map is, well, a rich, well-designed virtual field trip resource that supports curriculum-aligned inquiry into paleontology. I think it's a powerful tool for engaging students in science. I think it fosters curiosity, and it connects digital exploration with real-world scientific practices.